Call to order. Roll call, please.
Judge Deskins.
Here.
Magistrate Anderson.
Here.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dotson.
Here.
Magistrate Varney.
Here. All right. Leo, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? For approval, discussion, first reading of the Pike County 2017-18 budget. John Doug, would you present the first reading of proposed budget?
Judge, as you stated, this is a first reading of the budget ordinance. I will do it in summary form. It would take all day to do it as it is written. Let me first state that the appropriations, and I'll do this by fund, general fund, the total general fund is $15,013,591. Road fund is $6,365,444. Jail fund, $4,589,866. Local Government Economic Assistance Fund, we know that as LGEA, that is $2,260,684,000. Federal grants, total of federal grants is $1,065,815. Forestry fund, the total is $32,771. Solid waste fund, total is $5,645,930. There is a special fund, LGEDF, a recaptured fund of $604,612. Total of the maintenance garage fund is $1,065,578. The total budgeted appropriations are $36,644,291. And rather than going through the revenue, suffice it to say that for each fund, there is an exact dollar match for the dollar amounts that I've just read on appropriation for a balanced budget of $36,644,291. The budget is balanced as required by law. That is a first reading. It requires no further action at this time.
Hey, John, Doug, I had a question, and I had spoken with Magistrate Varney just a few minutes ago, and I reckon there may have been a little bit of confusion. You know, I think obviously the elected officials were included in that 2% raise.
No.
They weren't? No. Okay, that was a question I had, so we were not included.
It's just hourly administrative employees at the county, no elected official.
Okay,
That is incorporated.
Magistrates get their thing the same time the judge and jailer does, and you all haven't exercised it in the past few years to give an increase.
Okay.
So your also
So
is
we're
on
excluded.
a calendar year, and the employees are on a fiscal year.
Okay.
And I might add, it really would have been against state law for this court to vote
give us
themselves a raise.
Right. Well, that was one of the questions I had also.
Right.
Okay.
You can do a cost of living for the magistrates once they set their salaries, but that's all.
Right, okay.
And John, I got one quick comment to make, and I know we haven't talked about this, and I'm probably putting you on the spot, and if we need to wait, we can wait. But I know last year at this time, the carryover money was such a big issue. If my memory...
In this budget, I used $144,000, but I feel like we'll have more than that. I figure we'll have another $500,000 maybe as a carry forward fund.
But our carryover money is going to be a lot better off this year than it was last year.
Yeah, because last year we were lucky to do maybe 150 total or 100.
Right. I just want to thank you.
All right, no vote at this time. Approval to execute an equipment lease agreement with
Judge.
Kevin.
John Doug's got to do the second part to the budget, the reoccurring expenses.
Excuse me, Judge. What we have is an annual standing order. We do this every year to pre-approve certain recurring expenses. The Pike County Fiscal Court. This is the order for the fiscal year 2017-2018 pursuant to KRS 68.275 paren 3. The fiscal court may adopt an order to approve the payments of monthly payroll and utility expenses. No other expenses shall be pre-approved pursuant to the subsection without the written consent of the state and local finance officer. The fiscal court, in accordance with state law, hereby orders the following recurring expenses for payroll and utilities be paid when due. The fiscal court further orders, upon the written consent of the state and local finance officer, the following expenses are to be paid. You all have a list of those. They're 8 pages long. I'm not going to read them. But that is what we need done. I'd need a motion, a second, to pass the order that I've just read with a majority vote. Thank you.
Second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson,
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dotson,
Yes.
Magistrate Varney,
Yes.
Judge Deskin.
Yes.
And one more thing, and I promise I'm going to hush. I know back in 15, before we come in, the fire departments, was the 25% was taken out of their ISO ratings. We was able to give that back the first year. Last year, the ISO ratings come in even higher. Even though we didn't have that incorporated in our budget last year, we met the obligation of the higher ISO ratings. That's in this budget with the...
Yes, we had the increase this year. Frankie and I worked with Charles Maynard yesterday to make sure we had enough to cover all the fire departments. It's $446,000.
I knew the
It's
answer to
based on
that.
the ISO, and last year we only budgeted, I think, 350 or 355, and they come in at like 432.
We got 440. I knew the
We've
answer.
got a couple this year that went even higher, so that's why the 446.
I knew the answer to that, but I've already had a lot of fire departments reach out to me and ask me, and they wanted to hear it from you, so I
Yes.
put you on the spot.
Their new ISOs are there per Charles Maynard, and Frankie and I working together to get them yesterday to make sure we had them covered.
Thanks, John.
Okay, Judge.
Judge, I guess you're ready to move on to the equipment lease. If you are, I'm ready to explain that.
All right.
Each of you have this lease. It's not terribly long. It's for a piece of equipment, a Cobelco 115 SRDZ excavator. The lease is from Prater Construction, Inc. That's Kevin Prater's president, and the Pike County Fiscal Court. Now, some of you may be wondering why we need to lease an excavator. This is needed in order to accomplish demolition, which we are required to accomplish pursuant to several grants. And in a moment, I'll let Jimmy Kaiser tell you about that. Suffice it to say, I prepared the lease. I think it is fair. Well, I know it's fair. I prepared it. It's fair to Pike County. It's fair to Prater. But it is a week-to-week lease. It's cancelable on 7 days written notice. The total amount of the lease is $1,100 per week. Don't know how long this will go on. I guess that depends on how quickly we can get to the demolition. And I will also say that we got 3 proposals to lease this type of excavator, and I'm told it has a thumb, and you got to have a thumb to pick up debris from houses. This one has a thumb. Lawyers don't know much about that, but it is a good lease, and I would ask Jimmy to explain why we need to do this. And we'll also add, before Jimmy gets started, that at Tuesday's meeting, we did hire a temporary employee to operate this excavator. So we've got the employee online. This lease will start Monday. Jimmy, explain why we have to have this excavator.
We've got 2 grants that's ongoing now, and 2 is right down the pipe, ready to start. So all total, we're gonna have about 30 homes to demolish, and we're doing this in-house. Solid Waste Department's doing it in-house, and like you said, we've already got our operator, and we're ready to start. We're just waiting on this lease, and we'll start the severe repetitive loss demolition, and then we've got 5 title searches ongoing now, and as soon as the 5 move out on Pompey, we'll start on them, and he'll just be right down the line. And this is opportunity too, I think, for the
Yeah,
county
this-
to make $1 or 2.
This is required by all these grants. We have to demolish and remove these homes, and we could contract it out, or we can do it in-house, but by doing it in-house, we actually make money for the court. Is that right?
That's right.
Jimmy, who's gonna haul it?
Hoping you magistrates will.
Well, it's kinda surprised everybody, ain't it? I mean, you done got everything fixed up, and ain't never said nothing to nobody about it.
Well, I talked to Danny and JB because most of these first 4 that we're getting ready to start right now is in your and Bobby's, Magistrate Barney's district.
Well, you got one Mac up at the landfill, don't you? Do you use it every day, Bobby?
Well, when I've talked to Bobby too, maybe we can get him a day or 2 or something when he ain't hauling dirt to get it. And we discussed too, once we get started, we may can divvy out some of this money to the road departments on when they help.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. You got his attention now.
Yeah, you know, me and,
We discussed this, me and Brian, about.
yeah, me and
about
Jimmy's talked about this. One of the things we don't need to occur is when we start this demolition, we need to look at this as a profitable a venture. I mean, if we go in there and it takes us 3, 4, 5 months to get in there and do all that, we'll probably go in the hole. We need to go in there and knock this out 30 days, get in and out, take care of this, and absolutely, when we sit and talk, you know, we'll look at the road departments and,
I got 2 Macs over.
How long,
yeah, him and Al's got 2 Macs.
how long of time do you think you'll have to lease
We
this?
need a motion to approve the judge executing this equipment lease.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Hey, you get a second? Okay.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson. Mr. Dotson.
Yes.
Mr. Varney.
I've got a question. How long do you anticipate having to use this piece of equipment? How many weeks? Have you got a,
We set the lease up weekly
yeah,
instead
okay,
of
so,
monthly. So if something happens and there's a pause in between, we can take it back and then pick it back up and not have to be paid for a whole month at a time.
okay. Thank you, Jim. Yes.
Judge
Yes.
Jeffkins.
Jim, Danny had mentioned something about, said we might get some money if they haul that stuff. I said, yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Magistrate's comments.
I have no comments, Judge.
No, I have nothing, Bill. I'm gonna let you go this.
All right. Treasurer's business.
Wait, you didn't ask Bobby.
I'm in shock.
No, I have no comments this time, Judge. Thank you.
I've done signed this thing.
We need to get authorization, a blanket authorization for up to $36,000 that as Chris Lowry presents her invoices and the money is put into this account for the Elkhorn City School Apartments, Right now, she's asking for 6,000, so that would leave 30,000 to still draw down. We need blanket authorization because we only have 5 days once the money hits to get it issued to her. So I need blanket approval for up to 36,000 to Chris Lowry to pay her for CDG Planning Services. It's Chris Lowry and Associates Incorporated.
And that is as the money becomes available?
Correct.
Or not? Okay.
As soon as it hits the account, we got 5 days. So we'll try and coordinate it to where her draws come when we have court meetings, but if we can't and we have to have 5 days, I need blanket up to the 36,000 to pay her as it hits our account.
I'll second Leo's motion.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Yes. Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskin?
Yes.
I have no further business, Judge.
We are done. What about executive
Judge, another
session?
thing here. I got one more thing here, Judge. The other day I was talking about the grader. I changed my mind on that grader. I was heard a few things about it. And so I was gonna decide to get me a new backhoe out of the thing. 'Cause my backhoe's wore out. So I just did much more work with that backhoe after I talked to the boys up there than I can with the grader, the hollers I got it working in anyway. So I'm just gonna go with
Are you wanting to work out one like
Yeah,
Kenneth did with Leslie?
he might have enough money to pay for his, so we can check and see.
Okay.
like I'm just making.
Can we wait till the next court meeting or? Yeah, wait till the next
June
court meeting
6th,
since
we
it's
got
not on the
plenty of time.
agenda,
So
but
you're not gonna take that grader, Chick? You don't want that grader?
I'll be back.
Can't do it today.
we'll do it at the next court meeting, but we can get straight on the paperwork and stuff and have it ready for the 6th court meeting.
And one more thing, I'm going to start next week looking at our equipment to have another auction. So if y'all got auction stuff that you want to try to get off and sell, I'll make sure as it sells, if you guys put it, any department that puts their equipment into the auction, or what it sells for, I'll make sure it hits your
Be all
account.
right if we get some money back to buy more equipment. Last time we didn't get
So
nothing.
you'll get it this time, Hillman.
Got robbed. No, we didn't. You put it into the budget.
But you all bought a lot of stuff, some of it, but.
Yeah, but we had to buy it out of our road fund. It was supposed to be bought out of the money that was recovered from the auction, right?
You all did buy some stuff.
Out of the road fund.
Right, we'll make sure it
I ain't
hits.
arguing with you now, sissy. I ain't getting you stirred
Need a
up.
motion.
I got garbage bags out of that, Ken.
Any other business, Brian?
John,
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
all right. We need
I'll
to go
second the
into
motion.
executive session. No? No? Okay. All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.